All right, so we are going to do a quick video today about a concept I've been working on. I've been focusing some of my time on writing, not just a rewrite like we had talked about earlier of my previous book. There is about one chapter, maybe two, that I think really need to be rewritten, that need to be taken out and then explained in a different way to be properly theologically correct for Online Isn't Heaven. But what came out of the last couple months of just personal reflection and study and research is that there's something more there, that my book Online as It Is in Heaven really covered the basis for I think acting as a Christian online, or ways we can act like a Christian online. But what's missing was essentially how to do church, like a liturgy of online worship, or why there can't be a liturgy of online worship, or where, what online liturgy looks like and how it's different from church. And it's these are all kind of new terms. I don't even have them fully described yet. But what I wanted to start off with all that kind of confusing stuff in the first minute and a half of this is to just talk about some terms, some quick things that I'm noticing that we don't talk about and that might need to kind of be brought to the top for talk about online church. And that's the first kind of like base principle is that the internet is a thing, not a place, and it gets treated like a place while being a thing. And this principle, this renaming of what the internet is, repurposing of what the internet is by fiat, by deciding what you're going to do, by just saying it's a place, regardless of whether it constitutes being a place or not, is one of the more dangerous things I've seen kind of pop up with the online church, because it leads to logical places that are problematic and that can, I think, damage the church in the future that we won't see coming because we're blinded to it right now. No one's raising their hand saying, hey, I've got a concern. So I want to be that guy raising his hand. What do I mean when the internet is a thing, not a place? See, even I've been steeped in it because there are people who talk about it all the time. I remember like a Vlogbrothers episode where they were talking about the internet as a place and how they're how Hank Green considers himself a citizen of the internet. And that made sense at the time until I actually started poking holes at this idea of like, well, wait a second, how can you be a citizen of a thing? Like there are limitations to the logic that supports the idea that the internet is a place. Whereas if you treat it like a thing, it becomes this tool for use, and it can be, a force multiplier for ministries. Whereas if you make it a place, it actually diminishes the impact that you could have because you're treating it like a place and not a thing. And what I mean by a thing is that what you're watching right now, this video, is on your screen. It has to go from that screen through wires, through your computer, through the internet to YouTube storage, through the internet again to where it was stored on my device, through wires to my smartphone where I'm connecting it. That's a thing. That is a connection of things. That isn't a place, that's a connection of things. And as long as I'm on this side and you're on that side, it doesn't matter if it looks like, if we're going to start streaming in 4K and immersive video and you can move around inside the video because it's filmed in 3D, all that kind of stuff, you're still interacting with a thing, not a place. And that's important because nowhere throughout scriptures are we ever told to treat things this way. This is an entirely new way of treating things. It's treating an object like you would treat an experience, treating an object like you would treat a person. And that distinction is going to show up everywhere the second you start looking at it, because of how the internet works and how the activities we do on the internet work. Because there's only so much you can do on the internet, and it always bifurcates what are normal in-person or authentically human experiences. What it does is it takes those experiences out and it changes them into something that can represent, 80% of it there, but then leaves you short. And I think to the detriment of the people trying to use that space. So I'm going to explore this further in other videos. I didn't want to do something big. I want to do these quick videos so that we can just kind of like explore these topics and get you thinking about them. But when you can get into your head that the internet is a thing, not a place, you realize that what you're doing on the internet is not attending, but is in fact adding or subtracting to things. Like, I'm not going into YouTube and declaring what I'm saying in this video in a place. I'm taking a video file, which is a thing, on a camera, which was another thing, and I'm adding to the internet. That I am adding to the aggregate that is the internet, the collective knowledge that's all cross available to everyone who has access to the internet. That we are entering into it with the content that we produce, with the presence that we maintain, with the interactions that we have, that we are adding to that, that we are not entering into that. That those are different things. That there is that distinction between place and thing. So it's something for you guys to think about and to see whether or not that makes sense to you. Is the internet a place, or does it just look like a place? Because there's lots of different ways that you could take what a place used to mean before online church became an option. So the place where we gathered. We hate that phrase, right? The church is a people, not a building. Well, what if the church actually is a building filled with people? And that's the only way that you can get church, is that you have a place with people in it. That there's a universal church, a church that encompasses everyone who believes in Christ, but your local expression of church can only exist when you have a place for them to meet, and the people meet there. And that the internet, while being a thing, while looking like we're connecting, when we go to a church service and we see the people in the room and we see the people on stage and we're there, that even if they could see us, what we're doing is interacting and adding to a thing, not entering into a place. So something for you guys to think about. It's something that's been picking my brain. I really just wanted to get that out. Like, that's a definition that no one really wants to talk about. And so, yeah,